Live from downtown Vancouver at the Vancouver Film School campus, it's time for EP Live. Hey, welcome to EP Ed. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool. And yes, we are live twice. We're live on the internet. Hello, everybody on the internet. And we are live here at the VFS Cafe, downtown Vancouver at 390 West Hastings. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of fun things for the next hour. So if you want to come and join us live, you can do that. Hello, people that have come today. Thank you so much for coming down. This is very cool. We are just getting started with us in a live environment and in a live space like this. And VFS has been an incredible ally and very accommodating to us moving in and setting up shop here. And we couldn't be more excited. But we've got lots to get to on this episode today. Let's get started with our rundown. All right, the video game industry might be on the verge of a massive change. Microsoft is apparently planning to bring Xbox Live to other platforms like the Nintendo Switch and mobile devices. That's according to a talk that Microsoft has scheduled at the Game Developers Conference next month. According to the talk's original description, Microsoft is working on new software that will allow Xbox Live to function on the Switch, iOS, Android, and other third-party platforms, which means you won't need an Xbox console or PC in order to play Xbox games. Microsoft has since taken down the listing, but if the news is true, expect an official announcement soon. Microsoft has already announced a new cloud streaming platform called Project xCloud, which will bring some Xbox One games to mobile devices later this year. Now, this is obviously enormous news for the entire industry, but especially for Microsoft. It feels like they are kind of positioning themselves to become a Netflix-like purveyor of video game entertainment out there. I've mentioned many times that there is no way in hell that Microsoft is ever going to give up on this idea that they're going to get to customers through video games. They've built a very healthy business through Xbox, and yes, they might share the lead with PlayStation every once in a while, and Nintendo is sort of carving back space in its own ways, but Xbox has been incredibly successful. And this idea of saying, well, you don't need our Xbox machine in order to play our Xbox content makes them incredibly interesting for people out there. And I think this is the year that we're going to start to see the real flags in the ground from Microsoft. And if they do it and pull it off, then I think we're going to start to see similar kinds of moves from the competitors out there. And of course, the competitors now include companies like Google and Amazon, and it sounds like Apple wants to get into this space as well. And you know, Facebook is already sort of dabbling in this area too. It's very interesting, but this is why making Electric Playground has been enormously entertaining for me for 25 years. This business never sits still. It's always changing, and it's always exciting to talk about. Now, speaking of things that weren't that exciting to talk about, the Super Bowl might have been a bit of a disappointment, but that doesn't mean the commercials were any less heroic. Disney and Marvel debuted new TV spots of not one, but two upcoming superhero adventures, Captain Marvel and the Avengers Endgame film. Both of them are looking pretty badass, and they are already two of the most discussed trailers on social media. Captain Marvel lands in theaters next month. I can't believe it's coming up so quickly, with Avengers Endgame arriving in April. So they're basically going to own spring, and then all the Disney animated stuff and the live action versions of animated. Disney's got the year covered. They had the Toy Story 4 trailer. Of course, Aladdin is on the way. Frozen is going to be finishing up the year for Disney. So basically, they are every Brink truck that you see on the road out there is going to be filled with money going back to the Walt Disney Company, I think, in the world right now. They're making all the dough. But Avengers looks ridiculous. It just looks incredible. I'm so amped and so hyped. I want to see what the resolution is. You know, I love the message there that, you know, a lot of people would just lie down after the snap, right? But not these guys, not the remaining Avengers that are out there. They're going to battle. They're going to square up dead on against Thanos. And I think we're going to see some incredible battle sequences, incredible effects. I can't wait for that. And there is this rumor that's sort of going around out there where it looks like one of the characters has been edited out of the way that the characters are spread across the screen, the way that the framing is. And one of the theories is that's Captain Marvel in the sort of modern day version of her costume, because we're seeing the 80s version of Captain Marvel. Is it the 80s or 90s? Wonder Woman's in the 80s. Captain Marvel's in the 90s. So we're seeing the younger version of Captain Marvel in the movie that's coming out next month, and that trailer looks incredible too. I love the the energy coming off, no pun intended. I love the energy coming off of all the characters. It seems like there's going to be a good sense of humor. It is weird to see Captain Marvel beating up old ladies, though, you know, and then there's the big chunk of screen time on cats and things. It's like, okay, what is this movie? What's going to happen? But, you know, Marvel's been pretty easy to bank on, and they haven't really let us down too much. So I'm psyched for that. I'm psyched to see Captain Marvel's appearance in Avengers Endgame, and Disney's going to make all the money. What are we going to say? All right. Now, speaking of surprises, Titanfall developer Respawn Entertainment is jumping on the Battle Royale bandwagon. After several premature leaks over the weekend, the studio has officially unveiled Apex Legends, which sounds like a racing game. It's an all-new game set in the Titanfall universe. As expected, it's a free-to-play Battle Royale game where players take the role of the Titanfall pilots and then battle each other until one is left standing. Titanfall 2 received critical praise when it was released in 2016, best game of that year in my opinion, but struggled to meet sales expectations, so fans are relieved that we're getting more from the franchise. Apex Legends is available now on the PC, PS4, and Xbox One, and we'll be playing it later today in Let's Play in Chat. And I dabbled a little bit before we started rolling here, and it was pretty fun. It's a pretty cool game. It's definitely a Battle Royale game. It's definitely like landing on an island and trying to find somebody to shoot at, and busting into doors and say, "Oh, I got all the loot, I got all the loot," until somebody gets you and then you're out. But it looks slick. It's got the mobility and the speed and the sci-fi presentation that we know and love from Titanfall. The question is how will it evolve, and are we going to get the Titans drop in? Are they going to be NPC? Are they going to be sort of the environment attacking us as pilots? But you know what? Respawn is one of the best developers in the world at making shooters out there. I have major faith in these guys. I can't wait to see what they do with the Star Wars game. And I am now a little bit freaked out that we're not going to get a full Titanfall 3, you know, because if they're putting all their chips on this, I want more of their incredible campaign and their single-player, you know, prowess to show up in another Titanfall sequel. But still, I'll be happily playing along with this game. I don't know how many more Battle Royale games we can have in the marketplace, though. I've said this before, it's the Battle Royale of Battle Royale games now. You know, everybody's going to be fighting for that time. And as you'll see when we play it in Let's Play and Chat, it takes a little while before something happens. You know, it's one of those games where you have to have a little patience, and then you give to it, and then you get something back the more that you can kind of let it ride and get into the groove of it. But mechanics seem solid. I can't wait to play it with you guys. All right, that's going to do it for our rundown today. Let's throw it to this day in everything cool. Welcome to This Day and Everything Cool for February 4th. There's one big reason to like this day, because on February 4th, 2004, a group of Harvard students led by Mark Zuckerberg launched a new website called thefacebook.com. If you've seen the big screen movie The Social Network, then you know how it all went down. It started out as a way to connect students through the university, but quickly expanded to encompass pretty much everyone, and Facebook now boasts almost 2 billion users worldwide. The popularity of Facebook has established it as one of the most powerful companies in the world, not just in terms of finances, but in its ability to shape conversations and perspectives. Most people get their news and pretty much everything else from Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg himself is one of the richest people in the world, with an estimated net worth of around $76.6 billion. Speaking of tech companies with way too much power and influence, on February 4th, 1997, Apple finished their acquisition of a software company called Next. This might not sound like a big deal, but Next happened to be owned by former Apple CEO Steve Jobs, who founded Next after he was forced out of Apple in 1985. When Apple bought Next, they were really buying back Steve Jobs, and he soon became the CEO of Apple once again, ushering in a new era for the company. Next software was used to help build the new Mac OS operating system, and along with that, Jobs oversaw other innovations that helped put Apple back on top, and it's now one of the biggest companies in the world. You probably never thought it would be fun to lock people inside a room with no doors, but on February 4th, 2000, millions of gamers realized they could do just that when EA and Maxis released the original version of The Sims. Based on the SimCity franchise, The Sims allowed people to control not an entire city, but specific people inside a house or neighborhood, managing their entire lives, from their jobs to romances to what they eat for breakfast. The Sims was a huge success, spawning an entire new genre of life simulation games, and there have been several sequels with dozens of expansions ever since. All right, you guys, we have got an industry legend with us today, and I am so happy that he's here. I was desperately trying to find the first time that I met Tarrnie Williams on our YouTube page. I know it's on there somewhere, but I could not find it, so we're not going to be able to run that footage, unfortunately, in this episode. But we have the man live and in person right now. Come on out, Tarrnie Williams. Welcome to the show again. I think you've been on EP like, I don't know, 6 or 7 times over there.
It's been a few times.
Been a few times.
You again.
Great to see you. And you have done a little bit of everything. I asked you to kind of encapsulate a little bit of your career for us in an email. And I was not shocked, but it was just amazing to see Need for Speed for the 3DO. Was that your first game?
No, actually, I mean, if we went back even further, the very first thing I worked on was actually a Distinctive Software before EA bought the Canada studio.
Wow.
And that was a Mission Impossible PC title.
No way.
Yeah.
Was it associated with Tom Cruise at all? Or
no Tom Cruise at that point in time. I mean, that was
pre-Tom Cruise Mission Impossible.
That would have been '89, I think. That was from the TV show. No movies had been made.
Wow.
Like this was.
Did you have the theme in there?
Yeah, there was
really?
the theme.
Oh my God, I've never played that. I want to go and track that down.
It was not a super wide release at that point in time, I think, but you know, it's all right.
So, okay, well, here's what's happened.
It wasn't Need for Speed.
Wasn't Need for Speed. That changed everything, right?
Yeah,
but Vancouver has been a hub, and I don't think people really recognize it. I think, you know, Distinctive created the studio model, right? You guys really built this thing where you had the ability to create lots of games, and your people would stick together and they would say, this game now, let's go do this game, let's go do that game. And the industry wasn't really like that. It was a bunch of small teams that made one thing.
Yeah, I think at that time, Distinctive Software was the world's largest third-party developer.
Amazing.
At like 70 people.
Right. That's a lot of people, though. That is a lot of people.
At that time, games were made by 3 people, right? So that's a lot of different teams at that time who can, you know, I can find the bigger games, some of the Konami stuff
it's amazing.
Doing was bigger. But.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people again, it feels like. There's a lot of small companies out there that are, you know, I mean, you boot up the Nintendo Switch store and there's just a million different choices now. But so give us a sense of what Vancouver, though, was like in the days maybe preceding Need for Speed for 3DO, because that was the first iteration of the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, at that point in time, really, there wasn't a huge number of developers. I mean, because it was the beginning.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think there was Sydney Development Corporation, and that was my father's company.
Yeah.
You know, and so they did some, like, I think they were the first Canadian publisher. They published, like, Wizard of Id titles and things for the ColecoVision.
Yeah.
You know, way back. And then that kind of rolled into forming Distinctive, and then EA bought Distinctive. And then from that, actually, EA buying Distinctive was kind of a trigger point because not everybody wanted to move on. And so some people left and formed Radical.
Right.
And then there were 2.
Right.
And, you know, from there, it's kind of been a never-ending fractal Handelbrot as it just keeps branching and branching and branching. And every, you know, time something new happens, people leave one company and form another. I don't know if you remember Blaine Kilo did a great straight, like Vancouver ecosystem.
The Vancouver
kind of,
game making tree.
Exactly, which was
shout out to Blaine Kilo.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were with EA though for quite a long time, right? That was where you started your career.
Absolutely, I was at EAC for 8 years.
Okay.
And that, you know, there did, I guess, the original Need for Speed. Then we did NBA Live, 95 to 98.
Yep. Which is where we first met, and this is how far back we go. We were on the court at the Vancouver Grizzlies basketball game doing the interview about the new NBA Live.
That was fun.
97,
we got to sit on the court and play our game on the Jumbotron, which was pretty cool.
It was incredible. They were playing the game behind us, the actual sport behind us as we were talking about the video game. And they just let us do it. And then we got to go into the changing room.
We did.
And you brought your girlfriend.
I brought my girlfriend at the time, now wife, Shannon.
And everybody was naked.
That was pretty funny. She went beet red. And,
best day of her life. But we had an amazing, like that was true about, you know, EA's access to video games and EP's access to video games. Like we could just call up the Vancouver Grizzlies or the LA Lakers or the Oakland A's and say, we want to come and talk to the players about video games. And they would go, sure.
Well, and the players all played too, right? I mean, you know, even at that time, video games were definitely a big deal on the sports team side of things. And I mean, these days, kind of video games are just a big deal everywhere kind of thing, but they weren't then. I mean, it was more in the a lot of people think they're important, but not everybody. Now they've turned into, you know, a monster industry that they have on every device, and gaming's kind of, you know, up there as one of the key media.
How did you leave Need for Speed? Because I don't know if that happens so much now. When you have a monster success like that in video games, you end up staying with that for many, many, many sequels.
You know, I mean, I'm always kind of looking for something new.
Yeah.
And so there was an NBA Live opportunity that we were going to reboot the franchise from Bulls Blazers. And so I basically said, that sounds pretty exciting. Let me go do that.
Yep.
And then did that for 4 years, I guess. And then was ready to do something else, and we started a third-party acquisition group and did Kessin and Street Skater and a bunch of things. And
amazing.
Kind of needed to go move to California because I change.
Yeah.
I like change. I like pushing things. I've pretty much launched something on almost every new platform, almost every new business model of those things have come out. I like change. That's why I'm in VR now, and but mixed reality, really kind of like using VR and cameras to create streaming content. Because it's new. It's, you know, pushes boundaries.
The game making, the game of it for you is the challenge of something new and a new team and a new concept and
I guess, yeah, I guess part of that is for sure.
Because I feel like game makers play a game as they build their game.
Oh yeah, they do.
Right?
I mean, I love working with teams of people. Like, so I like, you know, and figuring out how do we make something amazing together, and that we can, you know, put out into the world that people can enjoy. And so that, I guess, is if you've done the same thing a whole bunch of times, I still love the people, but it feels to me like the challenge that I like the most is decreases after a while.
Sure.
And so, you know, for me, I'm always looking for something that is a new kind of bigger challenge that invents something, I guess. I like inventing things.
Totally. I was an actor in my life before EP, and I love doing all the performance stuff of it. But you know, when I got a theater performance or a theater part, the audition was great. The rehearsals were amazing. The opening night was incredible. But then it started to feel like, okay, I've done this for a few months. You know, I've got this, and I guess that's kind of
I think 4 years on any given title is the most I've ever done.
Right.
I had 4 years on that one. You know, I did 4 years on the Medal of Honor down in LA.
Did you launch the? You didn't launch the game.
Not the PS1.
Okay.
I launched Frontline, so the first PS2,
Awesome.
and then Rising Sun and European Assault.
Awesome.
And then again, that was about 4 years or so, and then I came back to Vancouver to be EP at Relic and do Company Heroes and some of the Dawn of War stuff.
Incredible. You really do like mixing things up, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
then I went back to EA. So I think I have like 16 years of EA time. Because that was back to EA to go do EA Sports Active 2. We built custom like motion tracking hardware and a light-based heart rate monitor, and probably built the world's largest database of like actual sort of, you know, heart rate data in relation to exercise at that time that had ever been created. Yep. But that was pretty fun.
What's the, you know, speaking as somebody that's done, you know, launching your own business, the Mixcast stuff that you're working on right now, but also working with EA and watching that become this monstrous sized business, then going to a really large sized developer with Relic. I mean, how do you correlate? How do these companies and these experiences kind of differentiate from each other?
I mean, in all cases, it's people, right? So, you know, at the end of the day, you're working with a group of really smart people, because I would definitely take, if I had to solve, you know, global challenging problems, or, you know, to drop you on the desert island and what do you want? I'm like, I want a bunch of game developers with me, because we will solve all the problems faster and better.
Yes.
Because you can't find a better group of people or smarter group of people or a better problem solving group of people on the planet.
Because games are, you're creating reality again.
Absolutely.
Right?
We're building worlds.
Yes.
I mean, that's like, you know, I've said that at some point, what do you do? I'm like, well, actually, I kind of create worlds. Yeah. Like, oh, what's different about VR? I'm like, we're just making it in a different delivery system, but we've been creating the UI, the worlds, the rules, the speech, the audio, everything since the beginning. Because you can't, if you want to really get somebody immersed in something, you can't just make the things you're going to show on the screen. You have to have the things that are not seen in the screen. You have to have the things around the edges and the behind that make what's on the screen interesting.
Yeah, you got to forget.
You do.
Yeah, the technology is there. Yes. You have to work on this ridiculously expensive and torturously difficult technology, and then you want the user to forget about it.
And you do. You need to have blank space too. You need to, you know, have the not fill in things.
Crazy.
You know, it's like, did the world get better when we knew about midichlorians?
Right. No.
No,
it did not.
Did not get better.
It got noticeably worse, actually.
Yes. I don't mean to single him out. It's one of the best franchises in the world. But if you could go back in time and erase one thing, it would have been Force. don't know.
Yeah.
Ah, good.
Yes.
Let's keep that mystery, right?
Some mysteries are worth keeping. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Do you have a favorite? We're going to get into the VR and the mixed reality stuff that you're working on in a second here. But I pre-mixed reality, do you have a favorite project or a favorite memory of working on a project that you recall and lights you up?
It's so hard to pick a favorite. I mean, because again, it's just being able to work with so many amazing people across that time and fight different battles and challenges. I mean, I don't know if I have a favorite. I mean, Company Heroes holds a very warm place in my heart, without a doubt. Yeah. I think we built something pretty special with that title.
Absolutely.
We hit a bunch of benchmarks. I mean, sales were good, ratings were incredible, and it still played today. Like many years later, and quite loved, and it still looks top notch. So that one probably is definitely up there.
And you worked on Dawn of War over there as well.
Dawn of War, really from Winter Assault on.
Great.
Dawn of War 2 was a fun one to launch.
Awesome.
I mean, again, we took a bunch of risks with that, and it's interesting. It's like it was all not bad received on launch. It's kind of warmed up. It's I recently was on somebody's top 20 RTSs of all time list. I was like,
I love that game.
I did too. And I think we did a lot of things that were actually foreshadowed in some ways. Some of the MOBA stuff and League of Legends stuff that where we were taking characters who have powers that change over a given battle and they reset each time. So, there's a lot of stuff in there, and that was really before MOBAs were really a thing. So,
that's awesome. And so you have rooted yourself in Vancouver, but you've worked in other cities and other places. What makes Vancouver especially, open to this exploring interactive entertainment like it is and like it does?
I don't know, really. I mean, I think it's a really nice place to be.
Yeah.
So it's a nice place to live, and I think that
smart people want to live in nice
places.
They do. Yes.
And, well, if you look at video games globally, they tend to be in cities that people like living in.
Sure.
So there's lots of clusters in those cases. And,
yes.
Vancouver, I think, because it got started early, partly because of my father, partly because of distinctive software.
Mm-hmm.
It built that ecosystem. And at various times, Canada's had pretty good exchange rate from the standpoint of an American company spending money because we're cheap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good. So that helps drive investment.
Sure.
And we've had pretty, reasonable, not always, but reasonable immigration policies, so we could bring people in from overseas because
tax credits and things.
Tax credits have absolutely helped.
Yep.
It's a very global business because we're looking for the best talent in the world.
Right.
And so. You have to be able to look globally to find that talent, and if you can't bring them to where you are,
and they got to want to make that move too.
And they got to want to make that move. So if you can't do both of those things and put them both together, you're not going to compete at the highest levels.
Right.
And so, basically locales that enable you to do that, then let you compete.
Do you, and I don't mean to throw shade at any other nationality out there, but I have this thing with Canadians. I feel like it's such a collaborative medium.
This is true.
Right? And you have to kind of just push your ego down a little bit and work as a group in one direction. And not everybody can do that, but Canadians seem to be built for that.
Yeah, I think we are definitely very good at collaborating, saying sorry if we think we're wrong, at being polite and inviting.
So that's helped. Did you notice, and I'm not trying to start any kind of war between LA and Vancouver here, but did you notice a difference between working with EA in LA as opposed to working with EA in Vancouver?
Not a huge one. I mean, I noticed the differences in nationalities, like you say, Americans have more of a tendency, and actually I went to school in the States for a couple of years at Colby College, and one of my interview questions was like, what's the difference between Canadians and Americans? I was like, Americans have massive stereotype. Okay, first caveat. But second, more people in America have a tendency to be like, it should be like that, and they drive towards that.
Yeah.
And then figure it out. Canadians often are a little bit more like, okay, let's see our options. Okay, then we'll go there.
Yeah, yeah.
And so both can be right and better at times.
Yes.
But
Cool. Well, you must love that about your career, is that you've had that ability to have that perspective.
Yes.
Hire people from all over the world and learn from them.
Absolutely.
Travel all over the world and share what you've learned all over the world.
Yeah, no, it's been good. I mean, I have, worked with teams not just in Vancouver and LA, but I've worked with teams in Montreal, London, Paris, Tokyo, Yokohama, Shanghai.
Awesome.
More places in the U.S. too, Chicago, Austin, Texas. I don't know. There's probably more, but
super cool.
It's great. And interestingly though, we're talking about some differences. I'd say there's more similarities in all of those things than there are differences in terms of the people. Because at the end of the day, everywhere you go and every team I work with are a bunch of really smart people who have a vision and a passion for wanting to create what they're working on and put it out into the audience and put it out into the world and see what people think.
In the film industry, I think what happens is there's a language on a set, and people know the disciplines and they know the job titles and the hierarchy and the rules, basically. So you can take, a film and go anywhere in the world, pretty much, with a professional crew and know what you're going to get. Is that achievable in video games?
Yeah,
Are we getting to that at that point?
True enough,
now?
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that that understanding is pretty baked in there. There hasn't been a lot of job title invention in a while. I mean, at Relic, we kind of created the narrative designer,
you did,
right? I mean,
we're talking about a medium that's 70 years younger than movies.
And it doesn't mean other people weren't doing those things, but we gave it a name and hired a people. And Stephen Deinhardt came and he won an award for it, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think these days it's even some of the sort of less commonly known titles are still fairly well known broadly, globally.
So all of that building and learning, all of the lessons and the rules, they're all built. You guys have got a language. You've got 2D gaming down, or gaming on a 2D screen done. Yeah. And then you say, let's throw it away and let's all start to learn new things with VR and mixed reality.
Absolutely.
Has it been just insane?
Yeah,
to be in that space?
it's been super fun. It's like
what's going on with AR and VR and mixed reality? Is everything going okay?
Yeah, it's bumpy. I mean, but it's early, right? Yeah. And it's a big change. I think if you think about VR, because really we're doing something with Mixcast. In the Mixcast, we've just kind of recently, we were at CES in Intel's booth and we showed off,
which is amazing, by the way,
Mixcast VR marketing system.
It's so
working
cool.
with Richie's Plank Experience guys out of Australia. And so we, built this experience, because one of the things with VR that's amazingly different is that normally in games, you have a screen. Yeah. You can see the game that's going on. You and I could both play a game together.
Yes.
In fact, frequently we've done that.
Yes.
Others have done that too.
That is an achievable thing
VR,
that human beings can do.
You put your headset on, and now, it's kind of a personal experience. Now you can be connected multiplayer, in which case you are having two personal experiences where in this other world you can see the other person's avatar.
Sure, yes.
What you can't see very easily is if I'm standing next to you with a headset on, I get to see one of two things. Either you with a headset on, waving your arms around, and these days it's kind of like big and bulky, or I get to see what you're looking at, which pretty much makes everybody sick.
Right.
And so, as we were building one of our first VR games, we built a puzzle game called Awaken. As we were building that, we really wanted people outside to be able to see in. And that there was no way to do that. Yeah. And so that's pretty much why we created Mixcast, was how do you look in? How do you use a camera outside? We do, film style stuff. We do, background removal to composite a scene, and so we built a whole platform to make that easy.
That's
awesome.
Do
no green screen background removal. We composite a person in
camera
layers.
Controls and everything too.
If we have tracked cameras, we can use tracked cameras. We have multicam. We support all sorts of various different 4K, 8K. We do recording. We do streaming.
That's awesome.
Does all sorts of stuff.
So you started. What's the name of your company again?
Blueprint Reality.
Blueprint Reality. You started Blueprint Reality with the idea of building games.
We had planned to do both.
Okay.
And so, we were like, let's do games and tools. Yeah. And then as we, brought the game out and brought the platform out, it didn't have a name yet. Yeah. But it was just like we showed it at, I think, VRX, December of 2016. Yeah. A lot of people were like, okay, that's really cool.
Desperately needed.
And having just spent 6 years doing mobile games with the Roadhouse Interactive,
right.
I was like, okay, what do I feel like raising money for right now? Yeah. Games company again after 6 years, or do I feel like raising money for a platform? Right. And I was like, let's do something new. So, because this was first round of CEO guy, been COO on the other one, co-founder. So it's like, all right, let me try a different flavor. And it felt very much like we had something that was foundational for the industry, really critical, and is actually needed to be able to make VR succeed. And so if you can't, because right now VR is really hard to market. How do you market VR?
Yes.
Well, you need to use Mixcast, because you can't show a person in context with the experience they're having, which means it's like selling TV on the radio.
And Valve did that with with the Vive.
Absolutely, they're launched
when they launched video. They did that, but that was not an easy thing for everybody to do.
No, that's like a multi-week shoot on a green screen stage with tons of professional camera actors, cameras and actors.
And they make it all look so easy.
Happen. You know, we use Intel RealSense depth cameras to remove the background without a green screen, and we do it all live right there.
So you don't need a green screen at all?
You don't need a green screen.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so what has the response been? Have you got streamers out there? Have you got
few? You know, it's been slow.
Yeah.
But partly just because it's kind of after VR.
Yeah.
VR has been a bit slow, right?
Yeah.
And so without a doubt, the interest is growing like a very large snowball as it's rolling down the hill. So actually, even since CES, it's been fantastic because people finally, I guess we figured out how to say it more clearly. Delivered a piece of content in a system that actually auto-generates that content, because what we now do with the whole Mixcast VR marketing system is we actually can take a piece of content, work with the developer a bit, and then someone goes through that experience. We use the 2 cameras, we auto-edit between the 2 cameras, we record those pieces, we insert pre-recorded shots. We then post the whole thing automatically, including audio, stingers, mic track, add the bumpers, top and tail, and we deliver the full content with you as the star 30 seconds after you take the headset off.
That's incredible.
And so you get a piece of customized social media shareable content, and it shows up on a touchscreen that you touch, enter your email, and it delivers it to you.
So people can walk away from CES with that.
Exactly. We delivered 450 of those in 4 days at CES. And this is basically, you know, the design is, how do we help people in the industry who are trying to sell VR? So how do we help the location-based VR arcades? How do we help location-based systems?
Oculus and are they all over you? Are they working with you guys?
Yeah, they you know. Everybody's trying to figure it out.
Yes,
like, you know, and so this is back on the not casting shade. Everyone's trying to figure out. Like everyone's like, oh my god, VR is amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're still in the we haven't got to the smartphone stage of the headset. No, we're in the big ass phone that like you have to maybe like carry around. Because look how sleek those are.
It comes in a purse.
Those are sleek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like imagine if that was your eyewear. Oh my god, no, not really. Like
it is amazing, but it is a commitment, right? To go and test all of this stuff out.
It's a commitment, and it's a commitment.
What do we got to do now with VR? What does it have to do? Is it about the software, or is it about the hardware, or is it?
It's definitely both. Like from the software side, you know, people are continuing to make experiences that are amazing and excellent. But VR requires a ton of power too. Yeah. So you know, if you look at outside of VR, what does they look like? You know, on a visual fidelity side, they're still not at the same level, and nobody can make an investment to build a game at the same level that you're investing in a non-VR game, because your market size is too small, right? So there's no way you'll get a proper return on it.
Right.
Second thing is the hardware. Yeah, it's heavy, it's big, you know, and so that isn't there yet.
I've heard good things about Oculus Go. I've heard that's a pretty good, low.
I think they've done well. Yeah. I personally I like the Quest.
And you like
so the Quest is coming out. Well, not just the power.
Yeah.
For me, VR isn't really VR unless you have 6 degrees of freedom on your head and your hands. And Oculus Go doesn't. Okay. So all the mobile standalone versions up to this point are 3 degrees of freedom.
Okay.
And the problem with 3 degrees of freedom is you get to rotate and do this, but you don't get to translate.
Okay.
And so, you know, you hear about VR sickness. Yeah. Well, a lot of that is caused by 3 degrees of freedom systems rather than 60.
It's trying to lock the way that you look at stuff.
Because what happens is your body and you're seeing things, and you're seeing the world that you're in.
Yeah.
And now you move like this, but the world doesn't move. Right. And your body says, well, there's a disconnect between my vestibular system and my eyes. So that must mean I'm poisoned. I should probably throw up now. And
that's not going to sell too many headsets.
No, exactly. Yeah. So it's really important that, you know, as creators, that we
poisoned. I should throw up now.
Exactly.
Put that on your poster.
Exactly. Yes. So that's why all the 6 degrees of freedom stuff doesn't do that. It has essentially tracking in all the directions. So you move accordingly, and then your body's like, I'm happy. Now, sir, you can still do things in the actual experience creation to make people have more challenges, because there's locomotion challenges. How do you move?
Yeah.
You might have noticed a lot of the VR games use teleportation.
Yeah.
That's because moving at rates that you can't move at.
Do you get any motion sickness, or do you train yourself not to?
I can get motion sickness, and despite the fact that I'm pretty good at not getting motion sickness. And it just depends on what the experience is.
Right.
So, you know, certainly 3 Degrees of Freedom stuff I just don't really wear.
Yeah.
Because
you're
I know. And actually my brain is like, why are you doing this? Get out, just get out, quick.
I've only had that. I turned it all onto first person shooter mode for Doom VR.
Oh yeah.
So I played it like it was and I was like, I took it off and like, I don't want to see a VR thing for a while. Yeah. I was like going to bed going, what did I do to myself?
And that's why some of the free roam facilities have popped up.
Oh, yes.
Things like Zero Latency or Nomadic or Dreamscape. They have
like
facilities.
The Star Wars Galaxy
or the Void.
Yeah.
So, what you're doing there is you're putting a headset on, and now you're going through an environment where you're moving. It's always one-to-one.
Right.
There's no teleportation, there's no anything. You're one-to-one.
And there's just a baseline set that isn't all beautified within the visuals.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It'll keep
Behind
you
the
from
scenes, like some people have got full open rooms. Some have actually built physical environments, so you interact with switches and you open gates and you pick
steps
things up.
to the holodeck, man.
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely like that. And so they're all people that we're talking with about working with, because of course, all of a sudden, if you implement our technology, they now can leave people with a 1.5-minute video of the experience they just went through that shows them being a hero and doing whatever awesome things they got to do from multiple camera angles as they went through this experience.
That's awesome. I'm starting to hear from game developers that have transitioned to other disciplines, like the medical industry, working in VR.
Yes.
Is that something that you see as or real estate or something like that? Is that a good application for what you're building?
For what we're doing, really. We've had contact with and have clients for some of like our free version in pretty much every industry, everything from training and medical to real estate to design, communications, because it lets you see the person in the world that they're in. Yeah. And it lets you really connect people between the real world and the virtual world.
Right.
But still people. Right. Because I don't know, if you're going to go see your doctor, do you want to see an avatar?
No.
No, not really.
Yeah.
And fine, there's a headset in the way, but the headset's going to get smaller and lighter.
Yeah. Do you think
there's still going to be an avatar?
Do you think it will be sunglasses level at some point?
Yeah, absolutely.
And are you,
without question,
because you have access?
It's going to be contacts. I mean, it's going to absolutely get lighter than glasses.
Unreal.
There's actually a BC company, I believe, who are doing implantable lenses that go into your eyes that you implant that have external things.
Are you going to do that?
I don't know. We'll see. Not first.
You have access to lots and lots of intelligent people that are building cool things, VR, AR. Do you have a preference yet, or do you just want to see how it all sort of unfolds?
I'm more of a VR guy. Yeah. I mean, I think that AR, I'm an experienced developer and a world developer. I make stuff that's amazing and takes people places.
Yeah.
AR is really useful for this world.
Yes.
And for the things that you do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that I will buy and own and use things that are AR. And what we make absolutely works with AR as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of passion and what I love, VR is definitely way more where my heart is, because
you want to go into space. You don't want to bring space to you.
Well, because we're in one world, right?
Yeah.
We're trying really hard to get to Mars and maybe the moon.
Yeah.
It's taking billions of dollars. Right now, there are thousands of worlds available in VR.
Right.
That you can go visit.
Right.
And it's just the
or
beginning.
Just games in general, right?
Absolutely. And that's why games are so appealing, right? Because they take you somewhere else. They're emotionally engaging. They grab you, and you get to feel like somebody else somewhere else doing something else than what you do on a regular day. Because I'm not sure, but I think a lot of people's regular days are only okay.
Yeah.
And so the ability to be a hero in an amazing place, achieving awesome things, potentially with like-minded people as you play together,
right?
That's awesome.
And that's, I think, the core of why you still do what you do, right? I mean, you have this business experience that could have let you go in any direction you really wanted to, and you're working with, as you say, having to reconstruct worlds, which is one of the hardest things to do. No matter how you frame it, you could have done anything, but you're staying with games.
Yeah, I just that's what I like doing, right? I like being able to bring people those moments of joy, and being able to craft experiences and do things that haven't been done before. I mean, I
blueprint reality.
Whatever I do, I kind of feel like that. I don't know. If I'm going to throw a party, it'll be good.
Yeah.
If we're going to go somewhere on a holiday, it's going to be good. We might do it less often, but we're going to do something cool.
Right.
And so the same thing is in whatever media I'm working in. It's all right, how do we figure out how to make something that's new, different, cool, and pushes it?
Awesome. Yeah. Do you miss the EA days when you were working here at EA Vancouver? Do you think back on that?
I spent a lot of time missing stuff.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed them all.
Yeah.
if I miss it, I'll go, because the past is written, right? I mean, it's like, I think,
spoken like a game player right here.
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess. I mean, you know, you can't go back to that.
Yeah.
So enjoy it as you can.
Yes.
Enjoy, you know, learn the good things and the bad things. Take what you can and figure out what you're going to do next. Because
I am curious though, if you have thoughts on the electronic arts that we all know today.
Yeah.
As opposed to the electronic arts that you helped to build.
Yeah.
Because you were really a part of laying the brickwork for the company.
I think I still have it. I saw it the other day. I have one of the $100 million quarter T-shirts.
Wow.
It was a Q3. So it was the first time that EA had done a $100 million quarter in Q3.
It's
and
crazy.
it was early days. Just to think about it. I mean, you know, if they had a month now where they did less than $100 million, like every executive would have to jump off a bridge.
They probably sell Command and Conquer Rivals little tanks and make
$100 million
exactly.
A month. I mean, it's $100 million is basically, if your game's not going to make $100 million, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, do you still have a lot of friends and connections that have stayed with EA this whole time?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to, right? I mean, they're a huge organization. It's one of the neat things about the industry as well. It's very global. Having worked in a number of organizations, the people you work with all move. And so I know people everywhere on the planet working at various different games companies doing interesting things. And
nobody leaves. Yeah. Once they get into this business, they never leave.
Oh, some people burn out.
They do burn out.
Yeah, some people burn out. But, you know,
people,
but a lot of them come back after a break.
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
Yeah, because I think it's kind of addictive building things with really smart people.
Yep.
Like it's, you know, you go to work every day, you're like, this is hard. But you know what? Like, hard isn't really bad. Like, would you rather do something boring and repetitive?
I mean, that's why we moved into the Vancouver Film School. It's like, let's challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
No, I mean, you know, I think that's what life is about, is continuing to do new and interesting things and set yourself challenges and do that stuff. Because I think even like, I like longevity research stuff. And that's one of those things. If you stop doing things and challenging yourself, you die.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
And that's, I mean, another thing another way that games sort of connect with us as well, right? Because they do challenge us and we do feel like we're achieving things all the time.
Absolutely.
Keep us young.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, and I think that's part of really good game design.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to set this out, and it's really life design's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, what am I meant to do? Because like a friend of mine, one of our designers, I think was the lead designer at when we were making Medal of Honor, came up with what he called the fun pie, and it was great. And I probably won't remember all the pieces, but basically there's certain parts.
Was that Chris?
John Paquette.
Okay,
John Paquette. Yeah, and so I believe he is at Insomniac.
Okay.
He's the creative director over there. And the fun pie was great because it's like, oh, well, what's fun? And it was like, damn, we should write this down. So he wrote it down. And, you know, it's like, well, first you kind of need to know what you're doing, because really being lost is not fun.
Yeah.
Like, so you got to, especially like, because you didn't understand the directions, it is the enemy of fun. So you got to know, I kind of got to do this. Okay, cool. Now I got it something. I'm like, oh, and then having a good goal, like, oh, I got to get over there. Cool. Okay. Now, if you just got there, that's not really fun. But if there's a challenge to overcome, okay, that's pretty fun. So now I know what I'm doing. I got to go over there. I got to overcome this challenge. You overcome the challenge. Like, let's make the actual overcoming of the challenge fun. Like, lots of things are fun, like learning how to get good at something or making a great meal. Other things, like, I don't know, there's a lot of things that aren't fun, like the actual activity of them. Let's go like this 1,000 times.
That's why I don't play The Sims.
There you go. Yeah. So, you know, so then I've done this. Well, now I get over there. I've achieved this. Well, what happens? Well, I should get a reward.
Yeah.
So now we give you a reward, right? So we, you know, give you sparkles and noises and fabulous things, and you probably get something
behind
good.
The curtain here, people.
Exactly. Now you've got something good. You're like, oh, I feel good about that. And of course, if you were done, then you'd, like, you know, probably pack it up and do something else. But you're like, oh, turns out it's only one of the pieces. The princess is in another castle. Right. Damn, I got to keep going. Like, so all of those things together essentially kind of create fun. And this is what we all do.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you have the Mixcast VR out there. What do you call it? Mixcast VR?
We call it the Mixcast VR marketing system, or just generally Mixcast. Like, there's some different flavors of Mixcast.
And you have Awaken is the game?
Awaken is the game.
Okay. And do you have another one in the back pocket? Is something coming?
No, not another game coming right now. I mean, we've got lots of concepts and designs and ideas, as one does.
Yes.
But most of the effort and focus has been on Mixcast.
Should these guys make Star Wars? Make a Star Wars flying game for Electronic Arts? Yes, in VR. Yes. So can you make that, please?
Have to ask them.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I've just been waiting for that announcement. Like, make X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Yeah, well, did you play the mini VR one?
Like a million times,
no,
yes.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm ready for more of that. Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome.
It was super fun.
Amazing. Yeah, and a great way to sell stuff, which is that's the state we're in right now. We still are trying to tell people that it's cool out there, right?
Yeah, because you got to overcome the fact that when you look at somebody with a headset on, you're like, no, I don't think that wants to be me. Which is why, again, Mixcast helps do that. You're like, I watch a video of you with a headset on, you're like, he's a headset on, but where is he?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that Valve video.
He's like running around shooting Stormtrooper. He's going to fight Darth Vader. Yeah. Wow, okay. Yes, actually, I would do that. Yeah. I'd like to do that. Yes. How do I get in there? Yes. Oh, you have to put the headset on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, fine. I'll get over that part, and now I will try this.
That Valve video sold tons of Vives when it first came out.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, that is my friend Tarrnie Williams. As you can tell, this guy has done a little bit of everything, and it's always phenomenal to have you on the show.
You as well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Let's
have a great day, everyone.
Let's roll on a buried treasure. Today's buried treasure comes to us from ACO at NintyFan1991. He suggested that we take a look at Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, but not the one that we're kind of more familiar with, the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 game, which was kind of disappointing when you look back on it. The game that actually turned out pretty good with that moniker was Star Wars Force Unleashed 2 for the Nintendo Wii, which still suffers from a slighter story, although they add a little extra content in there. You get to go to Dagobah, and they also add force maneuvers and force powers that you can use the motion controls of the Wii for. Remember those? Visually, it doesn't hold up to the other consoles, but it still looks pretty damn good, you know, and it's got all the great Star Wars music and sound effects and performances. So it's a pretty solid game, but they also added a multiplayer fighting element into this title as well, which is, you know, not quite Smash Brothers, but still pretty darn fun with lots of Star Wars characters that you know and love. That Force Unleashed concept, the whole idea of Starkiller and he sort of riding the edge of the good and the dark side of the Force, all super cool. It was so frustrating that The Force Unleashed 2 wasn't a better game, but I think anybody that's a fan of the franchise, anybody that's a fan of The Force Unleashed as a concept can take some solace in knowing that at least the Wii version is worth going back to. It's definitely a buried treasure. Super fun game. I had a blast, actually. I recorded a lot of that footage, and I had so much fun with The Force Unleashed 2. Great call there, ACO. NintyFan1991. I hope I got that right. We have got another review for you, and a little behind-the-scenes trivia for you. I couldn't remember the name of the game. I was calling it Travis Strikes Back, but it's not Travis Strikes Back. It's Travis Strikes Again.
Take one more step, and you're dead. It's too late.
It's finally real parka weather here in Vancouver, so I look a little less conspicuous in my Empire Strikes Back parka. Listen, I've been playing the No More Heroes kind of side game that Suda51 and Grasshopper has made for the Nintendo Switch, and I've had a smile on my face for a big chunk of this weird diversion, but it certainly doesn't live up to the No More Heroes hype and expectation, and I think in all fairness, Suda51 has been pretty upfront about that this was kind of a little test with Travis Touchdown and some of the weird and quirky storytelling and characters and combat mechanics, just sort of giving us a taste of that to see if we want more. It's kind of structured like you're playing a bunch of little mini games. The whole conceit here is that you have to go and find these little game balls. You have to go collect balls and stick them into the Death Drive 2, and you can play games off of this kind of retro game system. And you get all of these little notes and faxes get sent to you, and you can read through all of these in-game instruction booklets, which is a nice touch that give you an idea of what the game is about. And there's all of these retro-style cut sequences and opening intro CG cinematics. They've even got vector graphics built into this game. It's kind of like a love letter to the history of video games, funneled through the snark and the cynicism and the silly sense of humor that the No More Heroes brand has always been associated with. So in that regard, I liked it. I liked like the aesthetics. I like the world that's built for us. I like that we, you know, hop on a motorcycle and then we dive into this old sort of 1980s adventure game to kind of read through this weird story with a talking cat before we get access to new game missions. And I actually liked some of the combat and some of the mechanics in these game missions that we have. You've got your lightsaber weapon as well, and you're hacking and slashing your way through all of the combat. And it's kind of fun, but there is a lot of repetition and some frustrating ideas. Like in one level, I was trying to find these hotel rooms, but I got totally lost and there was no map. And so I kept going into doors that I had forgotten if I'd gone into or not. There was no indication whether I had completed a level or not. And some doors were just to go and collect some coins or to get some ramen to power myself up. And some doors were like access to real levels where I was collecting coffee and donuts for these guys. It's such a weird premise. And the storytelling is patently weird. And it's good that it is. You know, I had a smile while I was, you know, navigating through the weirdness of this game. And I think that's why you want to give this game a look-see. If you're a fan of the franchise, if you like Suda51 and his take on video games and what he brings to the medium, I think you will find things in this title that you will enjoy, but it is definitely not as robust and not as fulfilling as previous No More Heroes games.
You bastard! We're trying to butter up the gamers! Your fight is here in the real world!
And I will tell you that I do want more. I don't want this to be the final nail in the No More Heroes coffin. I want to see more from this franchise, although it's hard not to feel a little bit let down by this game. I think there's some merits here, but I would probably wait till this one goes on sale. I wouldn't buy this at full sticker price, but if you are a fan of No More Heroes, I think it's worth picking up and adding to your collection. I wouldn't make this your first stop with No More Heroes, though. I would try to dig out the old Wii game or find a different version of the title. And there were actually two. There was No More Heroes 2. Find those games before you come to this one. I'm going to give No More Heroes a 6 out of 10. Man, I love Suda51, and I really do hope that we get a No More Heroes 3. I hope that comes together. But now it's time for Let's Play and Chat, and one of the cool things that we can do with our live space here at 390 West Hastings in Vancouver, BC. So please do come down. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is when we are live. Got good guests lined up for Wednesday and Friday, and would love to see you come down and be a part of the audience. But one of the cool things we can do is we can invite a member of the audience up. Come on up, Nick. To come up and play, and then I can do some chatting. I can chat with you guys in the chat. Sorry, I haven't really interacted too much. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank
Awesome.
you for having me.
Awesome glasses.
Thank you.
Nice spiky hair. You got the, it's
got
like
the look? Am I okay to
yeah, it's the uniform, I think, on this show. Okay, I'm going to keep this plugged in, and you are going to play. I think you need to see it off of the computer.
Oh, no, you're Spider-Man.
Oh, does Spider-Man come down?
Spider-Man.
Oh, it's all right. I got to pick him up 1 second.
It's very important.
He's all right. He's not dead. Okay. So we're going to play Apex Legends. This is the brand new Battle Royale mode that Respawn has made. They kind of surprised us, but we all heard that this was coming. Did you hear that it was coming? Or?
I have no idea. What
okay, all right, yeah. Well, it was the rumors that were happening over the weekend that this thing was going to hit, and then boom, it hits. So you're going to pick one of your legends, and you can choose from these different ones. So this is Bloodhound with a tracker. Each one of them has different abilities and things. When I was playing as the robot, I had the grappling hook. I'm pretty sure I had that. And then when I was playing as, I think, Lifeline.
Do they have stats somewhere?
Yeah, click on it and see what happens. Oh. Yeah, that's all right. Okay, so if you want to chat with us on the chat, make sure you put in all caps for me, okay? Comment or question or whatever, and I'll follow along. There you go.
There we go.
So you're gonna choose. Oh, so press A. Are you a Switch gamer?
No.
Do you ever get confused with the B and the A button when you go from the Xbox to the
Switch? All the time.
Yeah, right.
Switch and PlayStation.
Yes. Oh, Switch and PlayStation. Yeah. Okay.
So
now I've inverted everything here, so that'll make it especially challenging for you.
Oh, wonderful.
Because I've been playing games for a long time, so my camera control's inverted. Okay, you're good.
What am I selecting?
So go back. This is for all the skins. That's where they're going to make their money, right? So back again,
back.
and then press Y, and then you are ready.
I'm ready.
Yes. Wait, so this isn't Titanfall Battle Royale? It is D9000, but it's choosing to opt for the pilots, not really the Titans yet, because I don't know how that would work. 100 Titans. that would be a lot of data that would have to stream out there. Cody J asking, does Spider-Man PS4 require internet to play? I don't think it does. I think you can just download it, and then Warco knows. Warco's here. You rock, buddy. I don't think so, right? You can have it off. And it's still my favorite game of 2018. What about you? Oh, yeah, so amazing. I just got to spend a whole bunch of time at Insomniac. We've got an episode of Recon coming up soon, and we're going to tell you all about it, but devoted entirely to Insomniac.
Ooh, there I
am. What do we got here? Warco! You got something from Cryptic.
There's a win out there.
Tidefish. Question from Game Freak 84. Vic, do you play the Anthem demo this weekend? Thoughts on the game? Wannabe Destiny? I didn't have time to play the Anthem demo, and I feel terrible because I'm working with EA to have some folks from Anthem come and be guests here, so I have to find time to play the game a little bit. I should be getting a review code, though. It's out February 22nd, so I should be getting the code pretty soon. I can't wait to play it. Timber put one of his best donations yet. He deserves a mega shout-out. Timberwolf is the very best. Thank you, sir. You are awesome. Blair Farrell, he is farthest from Vancouver, but one day he will come and visit with us, I think. Come on, make it. Vancouver's an incredible destination. That's what this show's about. It's like tourism Vancouver. So you hop on a plane. August is a great month, and we'll be here sweating bullets under the hot lights. But you can come and join the show then. That would be great. Let's see what we got here. Why must I have been born in the boring part of Canada? Red Baron. Yeah, it's not a competition. It took us a while to get a space that we could invite people to here in Vancouver. But it's finally happening, and we're incredibly happy that we are. And we're happy that Vancouver Film School wanted to partner with us to allow this to happen. All right, let's see. I think the VR Grid enjoyed the interview that we had with Tarrnie today.
You're in view of the enemy.
The Red Fly game is awesome. Sam I Am 111 talking about the Force Unleashed 2, which actually is a tremendous amount of fun and totally worth playing again here in 2019, which is crazy. Are you getting hit?
I'm getting hit, and all I can do is kick.
Have you played Battle Royale games?
I have.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Which one do you like?
Does Splatoon count?
Does Splatoon have a Battle Royale?
Does that count?
I don't think so.
Isn't that technically
It was 100 to... I guess they might have a mode where you're last man standing. I don't know. Getting a lot of blank stares here. Somebody will tell us.
Yes.
We will say that Splatoon counts for you. What do you think?
I just fell.
Are you having trouble with the camera?
I believe.
I'm okay.
You're okay? You're getting it?
a little adjusted.
Okay.
Just trying to figure out where
You're still alive.
Still alive.
That's impressive.
I got shot, and all I've got is a kick.
So there's 54 players on this game. When we started it up earlier today, when everybody was still at work or at school, I think we were getting like max of 20 people playing. So people are downloading this thing. I guess this is the big the test, right? They just put it out there, and I guess people are finding it, and they're starting to play it already. But when it first launched, when we downloaded it, there weren't that many people playing. Thoughts, hopes for the new Intellivision console. This is from Tim Alexander. We have an episode of Recon, which is the show that I'm doing with Escapist. We visited Intellivision for one of those episodes as well. So we're going to have a lot of information about the new console and the people making it. And I'm very impressed with the gumption and the strategy and the idea that not everybody has to be into games like Apex Legend. It's definitely targeting a whole different audience out there. So we'll see. I mean, I think entertainment off of a television with controllers has proven itself to be a necessity in households all over the place. I think there's lots of ways that you can approach it, and Intellivision is taking a very different tack. I can't wait to check it out when it's all done. Comment, one of my bucket list goals is to be on the show with Vic. I'd actually visit Canada for the first time just for that reason. Blade Blur, come on out, man. It'd be great to see you out here.
This is my bucket list.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet, dude. That's awesome. G-Rock, Sony needs to launch the PlayStation 5 along with their next stage of VR with it, and the first big game for the VR should be Star Wars Flight Game. Started off with a big must-have game like that. There you go, G-Rock. Why aren't you working for Sony? And why don't you have the publishing rights for Star Wars games? Why is there not an awesome, huge Star Wars X-Wing versus TIE Fighter game? Should we say that every episode?
We should, yeah.
Right? And in VR, they got to do that.
Well,
they got to make it.
Isn't that the whole point of VR? Is that what our goal is?
D9000 wants to know what my secret spaghetti sauce ingredient is. Way more onions than you think you need. Just go for it. Just onions are the best. They're awesome. Fry them up first and then stick them in.
Yeah, low and slow.
Famous Seamus question: are your videos on the Escapist website or their YouTube channel? I don't know yet. They're being edited. They're being edited right now, and they're sending cuts and stuff to me to just check them out. But we should have some announcements soon. Very much looking forward to releasing some of the first season of Recon. Comment, going to be going to VFS this summer for the intensive program, then for the full course shortly after. This is from KFXG. Fantastic. That is awesome. I'm actually about to announce with the school that I'm going to have that's our big the AC booting up on us right there.
That's the VR kicking in.
That's the VR. That's the 4D experience. I'm going to be offering a scholarship program to students out there that would like to come to VFS. And all of the pieces are being put together right now, and I'm completely honored that I'm going to be able to do that, and I'm going to be choosing through the different people that are signing up to potentially get that scholarship. I'm going to be choosing some of the people that will be winning those scholarships. So I'm going to have more to reveal on all that stuff, but it's part of our partnership, and I couldn't be happier. It's incredible. And this school, man, once you come and check this place out, you are not going to believe your eyes. And I don't even know if the students always appreciate what they have here, because they have this incredible facility. They have all of these amazing tools and equipment, and the experience that comes through this place. Everybody that works here has built tons of games or worked on awesome, huge animated movies and worked on television shows and big features. It's crazy. And that all played a huge part in my decision to try this, and to pick up and move from the basic security and the understandings of how we've made EP for years and say, well, I think we are ready to challenge ourselves and do something cool here. And it's because this school has blown me away. And I've been really, really honored to be able to partner with the school and work with the school, but more to come on all of that. Let's see what we got here.
Sorry, nothing's really happening in the game.
That's part of that's
part
like
of
Battle
here,
Royale. No,
I'm alive.
You wait till someone finds you or you find them. Question from Red Bear and 223. What is your biggest gripe about the modern gaming industry, and what are you most pleased about? My biggest gripe is that we spend a lot of time talking about the cost of things in video games. It's like you can't just jump into the entertainment. You have to kind of factor in how much it will end up costing you. And we're always pitting the cost of entry to the experience and trying to figure out if it's got enough hours or if it's worth this amount of money. And I hope that games will evolve to a point where every game has value and a value that we understand, and we don't talk about the economics of it as much. I feel like that sort of detracts from the art. We don't talk about how much an album costs to make or how much a book has sold, or books don't sell you extra chapters for extra costs later on. I just want this art form to be recognized for the beautiful thing that it is. And I think part of that is to make it simpler for people to understand it, and make it simpler for people to buy into the experience. And right now it's very confusing. I mean, this is a free-to-play game. And I don't know how they're going to monetize. And I think that that's a boring story. I just want to play the game. I kind of wish that they said, we're making a Battle Royale game. It's going to cost you $9.99. And here you go, and you get everything. That would be ballsy and gutsy. But the market isn't shaped like that right now. And so we've got and he's gone. And so we've got this market right now where there's no value for a lot of these games. People just say, well, it's disposable, it's free. And you know, I know a lot of people worked on this and they got paid for it, and there should be value on there. Follow-up comment as well. Bargain barrel games in the 90s could still be $60 plus, and now AAA games are $40 to $60, but people still bemoan the cost. Yeah, the cost for AAA, I mean, this is the thing. You start talking about video games, and invariably you're going to start talking about how much they cost, and I hope we get past that. Comment from Cody J, Uncharted or Batman? I like the Arkham games. How about you?
Which one, sorry?
He's saying
Batman or
Batman or Uncharted.
Batman.
Yeah. I love you, Nick.
Aw, I love you too.
Nick is awesome. He's got me right here. Comment, my cousin lives in Vancouver. I need to bug him to go down there to hang out, Vic. The Last Disciple, please do. And they can tell 2 or 3 friends. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Man, people are annoyed to have to download a separate launcher for the PC. Okay. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to fight so hard for that scholarship from Blade Blur. Yeah, we'll have a real, you know, less sort of clumsy announcement about the scholarship very soon. Okay, are your videos on the? Okay, we're good. Okay. Oh, comment from Blade Blur. The biggest issue with cost is not the games themselves with the DLC attached to them. It's sad you can buy games like Dragon Ball FighterZ for $20, but the character passes cost $50 together. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we all as game players kind of have to navigate through, right? We all know that there's like this, is that the whole thing? Did I get the whole thing? Did I buy the game? Do I own the game? Is this game mine? You know, there's a whole bunch of that, right?
Yep.
And especially with the stores closed now, you know, it's different. It's a very different day. My cousins live in Vancouver. You guys got to send all your cousins to VFS. All right, we got a question for the audience. Yes.
How do we get a tour of the school?
A tour of the school? I don't know.
I think you just go online.
I don't know. You just go online?
I think you just go online.
Yeah?
I mean, I'm not a student here, but
thank you, Nick.
I think
you just go online, I've heard. Yes.
I think you could book a tour online.
Question from KFXG. Do you feel that indie games now overpower what tends to be put out with AAA games in terms of quality? No, that's a very I love huge games. I love the horsepower and the imaginations of, you know, hundreds of people putting together something remarkable like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Titanfall 2. Like, I love that. So I feel like, though, as somebody that's worked in media and tried to tell the story about video games for so long, we need that to tell people to care. And indie games do a good job of getting people after they're in, or they remember something and that indie game connects to something that they remember about video games from back in the day. But big games wow people. And when they see a huge game that just, it looks so beautiful, they go, oh my God, video games are not they're not Pac-Man anymore. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I go back to a lot of arcade type of experiences, like Robotron. I play that all the time. I boot that up. I keep downloading the Uncharted games, and I play the Arkham games. I've played way too much Spider-Man. My New York in Spider-Man, like nobody's doing any crimes. I'm just like running around, high-fiving people, taking photographs. It's the most boring, safe New York that's ever been. It's like
nice little utopia.
Yeah, done it all. Hey, Spidey! That's like my play style right now. Okay, you guys, I think that's going to be it for the show. We're trying to keep our shows to roughly around an hour. So we're roughly around an hour. But that was an awesome show, and thank you so much for coming on. Thank you. And thank you again to Tarrnie Williams and to everybody that came out to visit us at the VFS Cafe, which is at 390 West Hastings Street. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again with a brand new EP Live for you on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow, you'll get a brand new rundown. Until then, play forever. Woo. Cool.